Check. Check.
Well, it's 7 o'clock, and for once in our life, we're on time, and we might be the first pig sale that's ever been on time, or first preview that's ever been on time. So first and foremost, appreciate everyone that's here, and appreciate you guys coming out to the Small Town Redwood Christmas Classic, I guess what we called it, or 'Tis the Season. And when I pitched this to my wife originally and thought it would be a good idea, and ran it past some of the crew here and brother-in-law at Small Town Genetics, that maybe we should do something just a little bit different, invite some friends of ours, and not too far down the road to the Redwood firm here, serious and passionate about breeding pigs, and obviously Brandon Machado sitting next to me going to commentate tonight, but Mr. Jake Harkrader, the two people who are involved in that, maybe I should say Grace, because she probably does a little more than everyone, but when I said, hey, you want to team up and do some stuff together, it's hard to get, 50, 100 pigs together on one firm to have the quality you want to do on this, and they said, heck yeah, so we'll see how it goes. goes. It looks like it's going to be pretty positive right now, Brandon, but we certainly, from the small town crew, appreciate Redwood joining with us, and we're going to do the January, February, March sale that way too. We're going to go online, so yes, we are doing a preview for you guys. The sale's hosted by showpig.com. It'll be online tomorrow night. I think it opens at 3 o'clock, if I remember right, 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock, but in all honesty, the sale really opens at 6 o'clock when it goes into extended bidding tomorrow night. We will do a preview for those of you out there that want to get eyes on them. We'll open the barns at 3:30 tomorrow, and at 5 o'clock we'll do another quick run through. But appreciate Stacy Wagey, Kennedy Ventures, CCI Live being with us. Showpig. Excuse me, showpig.com live being with us here. Stacy's kind of running the computer and getting everything out there to you guys. And just bear with me for a minute. I know we got lot 1 and 2 in the ring here, but we got to give some thank yous to what goes on. And Brandon can talk about his firm when he gets the mic. But Jose and Nicole are the two people that kind of make things happy back in the trenches. And as you guys know, my brother-in-law Mike does a lot of the paperwork stuff. And with Johnson Farms, who's our partner, Johnson Brothers, who are our partner and working for them, he does a lot of things too, not only here on the farm, and obviously Kara and I are certainly happy to have all those people involved in kind of the day-to-day activities of it. And then with that being said, you know, the crew from our standpoint that put all the time in picturing and getting the videos and pictures, and it's always a work in progress. But Grace, Lance, Mason, Cade, Cash, and JC, you know, my kids and the cousins certainly helped out, and Kara and I appreciate you guys stepping up. My wife Kara, obviously she's been a part of this from the very beginning. She put dinner together tonight. She's back in the trenches with the crew. We're going to try and do a little better job of presenting these things tonight. I'm fitting them up, so she's ramrodding them back there, but appreciate that. Kara Dadson, she's been with us, worked with us, a great friend, her and her husband, but she built the block. Certainly a big shout out to that. It came in this morning, and she's here on special assignment helping out for the sales. The setup crew, I hope you guys like it. If you're here live, I think it looks pretty cool, and I think the vision came together, and hopefully if you guys join us at some point, but I think it's pretty cool, the setup that we have, and hopefully it gives you a good look. But Bryce, Garrett, Jake Hargrader, Cooper, Kara, Nicole, Jose, they were all in here today, and it doesn't look like much, but I think we have about 7,000 man-hours that went into setting this thing up in here this morning. So appreciate everyone for doing that. The Peacocks, Bryce and Cooper, they're going to be in the back in the trench, is getting everything in and out for you guys. And Jimmy Bennett's here. He showed pigs for us. He worked for us when he went to college, and he's always back, I say, on special assignment, but maybe as a cell consultant if you guys want to visit with him. And Kyle Dadson will be in here too as a consultant, and Brandon can say some more things. If I forgot any of you, I apologize, but it's a lot to get through. So on behalf of Small Town Genetics, Peacock Nation, I'll even speak out for the Redwood firm, but myself, Kara, Jake, and Brandon, we're happy to have you guys. Appreciate you joining us. We'll start off the preview, and I'll open them up here, the genetics on mine. I'll let Brandon kind of talk them, but lot 1 and 2 are coming in. This is the 128 litter, and in my opinion, this is one of the better litters that we put together in our tenure here at Small Town, out of the Sweet Dreams boar that hails from the 333 stud, excuse me, there, and I think that boar looks amazing. I think he's bred amazing, and these pigs really represent him and look very similar. And you put that 24-1 misconception sow on the bottom side, and Brandon, maybe misconception and 24-1 don't mean anything to the world out there, but from my standpoint, we call her Bluey's sister, and she's a flat-out generator. And in our part of the world, Bluey's made plenty of champions. He's responsible for a couple of them that are up there on that board right now, and I'll let Brandon talk to you, but I think this is a pair of boars/barrows that I think can get in the heat. I will say a lot of the small town pigs are not cut. I think most of the Redwood ones are. We will take care of that for you very soon, but I thought there was some boar prospect bower in here, and when we AI to our very best sows, you can get AI boars. We want to leave that option in there for you guys. So we'll make them barrows. I understand most of them will be barrows, but the seeds are in a lot of them. Don't let that deter you.
Well, before we talk hogs, Jake and I'd really like to just thank James, Kara, the whole small town crew. It kind of made sense for us to do this. We all get along, good people, and we're right down the road, and we jumped at the opportunity to come out here and, to dive right into it. I think James brings us a pair out of this 128 litter, and I think they're very intriguing, guys. I think you can kind of pick your poison. I think Grace drives that lot 1 barrow, and to me that one's futuristic in terms of just his look, his length of body, and his ability to push back behind his tail root. I like that guy in terms of a hog that's maybe a little later in his maturity, yet he still drives with width through his chest. He's round-bodied. He's big-pinned. He's extra rugged at the surface. That one just looks to me like the kind that feed, the kind that you walk out every day and they get better with time. More importantly, that striking eye appeal, power with a comfy skeleton. That's the kind that can win. Then we go to his brother, and like I said, pick your poison. That guy's an absolute hoss in terms of chest width, arm size. His foreribs, center body, and rear rib is second to none in the entire set. What's cool about him is he turns and goes away. Yes, he's big pinned. Yes, he's massive in his hip. More importantly, he's clean jointed, he's square, and he's flexible. I think an intriguing pair of pigs, guys. I think both of these pigs have the skeletal system to where you could push for an early show. If you want to sit on these things and let them get real good and show them later, I'd certainly say you could do that. I think we kick off this sell extremely good with the 128-1 lot 1 that Grace drives and the -2 pig that Kara drives. Exciting pair, guys.
Maybe we'll leave Grace's pig out there, send Kara's back, but we do have a litter mate here, and some of these odd numbers, we try and put 2 out here at a time, but they work better. So litter mate sister's going to come in here next, Brandon. She'd be tag lot number 3, and yeah, she's got maybe a little more look, a little more style than her brothers, but I think she packs a punch as well. So as they shoosh her into the ring here. Just bring lot 3. So yeah, Kara jumps in here. Littermate Guilt that comes in here, and I'll just jump on her. And from a Guilt standpoint, I know a few of you guys have been through the farm. This has been one of the farm favorites in here, and her look and her extension and the style that she brings to the ring, I think is next level. She kind of has that big ring look in terms of her ability to not her ability, but she's got that neck built up on the top of her shoulder blades. But her to hold that head high and still reach and be angulated off that front shoulder, you know, she blends smooth through the center section of her body cavity. She's square coming and going. I think a bright future in that lot number 3 Guilt.
Yeah, I mean, I think one that jumps out is obvious in terms of quality, obvious in terms of one that's is built for the long haul. Like James alluded towards, when they're that attractive, they're that square, and they're that functional, you're always going to get along. I think what's even more valuable in this pig, not only does she have a pair of males that are going to grab some banners, which only adds to her value. You heard James talk about the value of mom's pedigree. We know the Farnham sow that makes the boar that sires these pigs. For those of you that are maybe looking to tie into one to drag late into the summer, show as a big ring show gilt, I think there'll be a lot of resale value. Or if you're really smart and you want to just keep her and make your own show pigs, you could certainly do that as well. I think these 128s are really fun. I think you could certainly dig in here. Well, we drop out our redwood consignment. The first 2 that we drop in, lot 4 and lot 5. The one that Bryce driving across the ring there is lot 4. Pedigree there is Wildside Smokin' Joe next. She'd have been a gilt purchase from the Kanoth firm. That next sow on the bottom side would be the 3-9 next intention. One of the key building blocks there at Kyle's. This would be this sow's second litter. Her first litter last year, we would have sold a pig at the California Elite. We'd have sold one also that went to Santa Barbara. We'd have had the Reserve Supreme there at Sac County and the Reserve Dark Cross there at Santa Barbara. But I think a litter of pigs that I think reads consistent and deep there on those 60s. Our other pig that we'll talk about that Kara has around the ring, the big fella as we call him around the farm, Stone Cold Tricked Out Hot Rod. That sow would have been shown by our very own Grace Harcrater. She'd have been the champion dark cross at the California Youth Expo, one we purchased there from True Genetics. Last year, she'd have had the 4th overall at Dixie National and a pair of barrows that were campaigned out here that rounded up quite a few banners. We'll let James go ahead and discuss these.
Yeah, and we'll just stay on that one Kara's on since we talked about it. And, man, that just looks like a good feeding kind of hog. And that one's presence and that one's just exotic look is next level. And I think when you're talking about show barrows that need to be on feed and need to be put on feed to compete at high levels and finish when they're big, this one not only looks like he could go out and earn his ranks right away on the jackpot circuit, but that one looks like he's got the frame and growth pattern to go. And we talk about that elevation he has at his shoulder, the way he sticks that neck out there. He's so level down his top line. He's so good when you study him and his transitions from his hand loin back into his hip. He's square coming and going. He's got a big leg in him. He's got a big foot in him on both sides of his skeleton. And you just study just how good he is. Curvature up to the top side of his skeleton. He's smooth when you get on the side of him. He's sound. He's comfortable. Square coming and going. Really, really hard to poke a hole in. Has got some of those extras ESTs. And, yeah, I mean, this guy you could probably sit on and feed a little. But if you want to push on this guy and put the pedal down and get him ready in April, I think that is very, very doable too. Very rare that you find those hogs that have big feeding windows that you can sit in for 2-3 months, but basic build and design is so good on that guy with extras. When you talk about the one Bryce is on there, lot number 5, I guess is what we're talking, lot number 3, excuse me, is what we're talking, 4. Lot number 4, what we're talking about there. And, I mean, that is just a moderate frame boxy thing that I think just has all kinds of good in him. And his spread and his mass up high and his ability to have all those extras in terms of width and power coming and going, but yet stay so good off his front shoulder and stay so flexible and range of motion off that rear leg. That guy just looks like he is one that is just easy to feed. He naturally has muscle. He won't need a bucket of supplements there. He's neat looking when you study him up front. He's really, really good in terms of his proportions, but when you get them like that and their angles right and they're sounding comfortable, good things happen. Here's a pair of them, a little different in terms of type and kind. I imagine that guy, and Brandon probably thinks the same way, you could feed him a long time if you want to sit on him when they're a little more moderate and square like that and got some extra stuff to them. But a good pair of hogs. Excited to see those and excited for whoever lays those into their barn and starts feeding on them. I would keep yours together. I would just drop one of yours. Just drop the redwood pig that we haven't.
We drop out lot number 6. That's another 60 litter pig. Be a litter mate there to our lot 4. I think one that's pretty exotic in terms of his presence, one that's extra comfortable in terms of how his push and go off both ends of his body. I love this guy's shape, his pin set, his hair, his texture of muscle. I think a hog that as he fleshes and matures could get really, really fun.
You know, I had a bunch of calls on this 60 litter, and when we were going through them last night with the Redwood crew there and their fitters and jocks that are in here, and I probably thought I had the advantage to 60-3, which is the one we just saw, versus 60-2 here. But when they get out here, I don't know if there's that much difference between them. I think pick your poison on which one you want a feed of this pair, but you talk about one that is just attractive and sexy and got all the extras. And his center body cavity is so good, and his ability to elevate that front end and keep that jawline in check, but yet stay stout and rugged. When you study him through his skull, that is a very, very good feeding kind of hog. And some of you asked, and I said I know more tonight that I talked to on the phone, 60-2, 60-3, you go anywhere. But in all honesty, and Brandon will allude to this, there's more of these 60-litter pigs coming. They're deep. So I'd get in early on a pig like this. I'd get in often, and I'd inventory him, because you do not want to show against a pig like that, because they'll haunt you all year in the jackpot circuit when you get to the big show at the end. All right, lot 7 and 8 coming in here from small town here, and yeah, cool pedigree. Time to Talk's going to be the boar, and another one of those boars that's up there, the 333 stud, and we bred our pullins that you're going to see later. We need to get some semen since we're paying shipping. We tried out some of these boars, and Isaac's always been a good friend to us and very hospitable when we stopped by and looked at hogs, and I'm very pleased that we had the opportunity to use some of these crossbred boars. You put the drum roll sow on the bottom side. You guys might remember that 5-liter. It was in our February sale or late January sale last year. Those drum roll pigs, and out of the Colson firm, the 66 sires is where drum roll would be, and put it on one of our very, very good pony up undisputed sows. How the bottom side of that pedigree would read, and good things happened here. You know, you got look, you got style, you got design, and greener later maturing hogs from what we just saw. But we'll let Brandon talk a little more about them.
We'll kick things off with lot 7, 124-1 that Grace drives. To me, the immediate things that jump out are just that guy's elevation, his head shape, his extension, and his levelness to his lines, I think, are really, really good. I love this guy's length of rump, his ability to push and drive square there from behind. A little greener, immature hog, but as we talked about that one earlier, it's fine buying green hogs when they have chest width, they have rib shape, and they have some true muscle up high. That looks like the kind that's going to get better with time, with a super high quality kind of a presence from the side. Then we'll talk the 124-2 hog, and to me, that guy's maybe one that's maybe even going to be a little bulkier when we talk about down the road and get in on these things. A big armed barrow that I think drives at you extra big in his chest. You go to the surface, he's got big feet, which matches stout skull, his big tail root. I like that hog's feeding ability in terms of having a round rib, having the right kind of muscle, and having the right kind of maturity to not only grow for you guys as buyers, but grow with quality, grow with width, more importantly, be built to last the long haul.
And again, that's lot 7 and lot 8 heading out, so we'll shoosh those two out. And as fast as 7 and 8 go out, 9 and 10 jump in, and same pedigree we have here. And this is where we're going to get into the ladies of this particular group. And there's a pig in here that I'm pretty high on. We'll see what Brandon thinks about him. But again, Time to Talk on that good drum roll sow, a good pedigree hog, and a good litter of pigs.
We'll go ahead and start with the 124-5. I think that gilt just screams quality. I love her in terms of her angles, her fundamentals, a good toed, good pastern kind of a hog. I think that's more important ever in our industry than now, just building them good at the surface. I think a hog that's extremely good in that regard. I love that gilt's just curvature to her forerib. She's flat back. She's long hipped. One that I think gets out and drives with the best of them. More importantly, though, not only does she have the quality and look of maybe a breeding gilt, she's packed with the power and the shape I think that she can show as a market. Kind of a dual-purpose deal there that I like pretty good. Then we talked the gilt that Kara has, and one that's probably further along in terms of just her maturity. That's a really big rib power hog, wide coming and going. I think also on top of that, you study her, legs go north and south. They flex, they're correct. I think a gilt that's extremely fun to study as she kind of crosses the ring there. A balanced proportion hog that's big ribbed and stout with power to burn. Will we drop out the Redwood consignment of ours again? Lots 11, 12, and 13. Once again, we've already kind of gone over some pedigree information. To go in order, we'll talk the one that Kara drops out first and the wide-belted pig. I love this guy in terms of balance, extra big kind of a pliable rib in that hog. I think more than anything, I love his extension and his look. I love his length to his hip, and I think that guy's indestructible in terms of the build of his hind leg. Then we drop out the all-black one, and that's kind of the one we call Big Husky there at the barn. These hogs, they're a little bigger. They're not cute little baby pigs anymore, and I think that, you got to envision these things in a pen by themselves. You burn a little baby chub off the front one-third of that pig, and I think you got one that can go show on the weekends. He's stout, he's massive, he's powerful. I think more importantly, though, his balance and modern-day proportion coupled with his stoutness of feature, I think has him very, very high in terms of how I rank him there on our list. And then probably one of my favorites, he's probably our least ready pig to be at a pig sale, is the little belted pig that Grace Curry drives across the ring. You've seen his brothers earlier. They had plenty of width, plenty of power, plenty of shape. I think this guy's silhouette, his head shape, and the design of his skeleton, you put the feed bucket in front of him, you put your foot on the gas, and you don't look back. I think you're going to like what you got long term. That's lots 11, 12, and 13. We'll let James throw in some comments.
Yeah, and that lot number 11 that Kara's on the far side of the ring there, we'll talk about that pig. And basic build and design, like Brandon said, I mean, that thing is next level, and that thing will take anything you throw at it from a feed bucket standpoint. And when you get them that good skeleton and that flawless in terms of their structural integrity, all four corners are set right, everything goes north and south, you got all kinds of presence, you still have some shape there. But, man, when they have that kind of running gear and that kind of fundamental package and building the design, you can get really creative as a feeder, and you can add on a lot of extras to that one, and you can run with the big dog hogs. And there's a lot of pigs that sell for $25,000-$50,000 as barrows and get there, and they wonder why pigs that don't sell for that much win. And I'm not saying he's not going to sell for that, but it's pigs like this that challenge those pigs and get in front of them, because they're so good in terms of their build and design, and the feedability that they have is very good. And I'll transition right into the one Bryce is on, the all black pig there. And in all honesty, like, there's a lot of similarities in terms of skeletal build and design in this hog, and the functionality of the way that one gets around the ring and still having that extra presence and that extra look. And out here in our part of the world, if you're staying out here on the West Coast, we've got that black division now, and I'd challenge you to find a pig at this size and at this age and this time of year that's going to get you into that jackpot circuit. And these hogs, Revival would probably be the big show that we're talking about, where these pigs' destination would potentially finish or kind of reaching their, not their end point, but I mean, obviously they can go into May and June, some of them, but when they're big hogs, that guy in that black division looks like he could play. He looks like one, again, that on the jackpot circuit, he's going to be in the mix and that getting you a banner every weekend when you're out there if you're a weekend warrior, but that one looks like he could do just a little bit more when it's all said and done. I absolutely agree with Brandon on that one Grace is on, and you talk about green futuristic pigs, and sleepers maybe not the right thing to say, but I refer to them as sleepers because sometimes we forget about those ones that are good built, good looking, and attractive, and just a little far behind on their chub, or maybe their maturity pattern isn't quite as ready today as some of the others. But when you study that pig, that one's look, that one's extension, that one's jawline is next level. You know, all the indicators are there from with the pin, with the blade, with the back standpoint. That one just needs a little more time on feed, and maybe it won't be the most popular one tomorrow when we sell these things, but that one certainly from a quality standpoint should be very popular and make your A-list. 3 outstanding pigs here. Congratulations to the Redwood firm on bringing those. All right, we're going to drop out one more, and the 59 liter, and Brandon's talked to you a lot about it, but the 59-4 is what's going to come out next year. And again, stone cold on that tricked out hot rod sow. And man, Brandon and talking to Brandon and Jake and the crew, Garrett, you know, they've been very, very high on this 59 liter. And I promise you, one of my favorite pigs that they brought in their set is a 59 liter pig. And there's been some good ones. I think there's one coming and that might give them just a little bit of run. But that tricked out hot rod sow, absolutely elite. And when you get here, you're going to see it. You talk about elevation at the front shoulder. You talk about neat looking up through that front third, and you talk about one that just looks like a show barrow and looks like he's going to be a show barrow his whole life. I think he's got the right amount of everything, and I mean, checking boxes sounds generic, but that one checks boxes, but that one's got some wow factor, Brandon. His squareness, his blade, his forearm, his uniqueness, a foot size, carrying that added dimension and stoutness all the way to the ground and not being messed up on his feet and legs, that's pretty unique. I know you got a few things to say about him too.
Well, last year out of this sow, myself, Garrett, Bryce, we had a barrow we called Pablo. He won a lot out here on the West Coast. This pig we call Pablo Jr. He looks like a spitting image. Paint job's a little different. Same head shape, same extension. I think a hog that reads like one that's going to feed as a big heavyweight kind of a market hog. Yet I still think his bulk, his cage, his pin width, and his rear view in terms of squareness, but still setting him on the corners and having the right kind of width, I think gets us really excited. I don't really know how I rank these set of pigs. He's not in the lineup for any particular reason. I think one that we're very, very high on, and we'll see what the buyers think here come sale day.
All right, 15 and 16 are going to come in next, and then we'll run a trio, and that way we keep our litters the same. But the 125 litter is what's coming in here, 125-1, 125-5, and going to be out of something a little unorthodox if you don't follow the small town program, but out of the sire we call Found, which most of you have heard the word Todd is what we called him for a long time. But that would be Buckle Up on Endgame Sister. That's a bull we bought out of the – what was the cell I told you we bought it out of? Out of the Holy Smoke cell, thank you, from Gary Todd and Natalie Hofschulte, and he would be Buckle Up on In-Game Sister. So pretty cool pedigree there. The cool side for me, too, gets on the bottom side. Shades, that's the high-dollar bull we bought from Brenning, the Tricked Out Son, a couple years ago that not only has he made some winning show pigs, but he's laid us in a set of sows you're going to play with. But when you get into the grandma, Shades, Frederico. Frederico's that boar that Mason named in the barn, but comes out of the Next Intention sow that we had there, or out of Next Intention, a boar that ended up at Real McCoy Genetics, and one day he just walked out there and the boar was laying there dead. But we were fortunate. We bred some sows before, bred some boars when they were there, and then you put the pony up, and Mike Curry will appreciate this. The Undisputed sow goes way back into the bottom side of this pedigree here. So this is probably some of the richest genetics we had. A lot of stuff that we've bred and done here ourselves on that south side of the pedigree. But 125-1, 125-5, 15 and 16, a pair of them that look a little different, but a pair of them I think are very, very good feeding hogs and could be very competitive.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a pedigree junkie like myself, I think you dig into the paperwork here. You see buckle up, you think extremities, you think look, you think shape, you think wow factor. You see end game, you think maturity, build, balance, rib cage, maturity pattern. I think it all makes sense when you play your eyes to these pigs. Particularly, we'll start off with the 125-1 that Grace drives. There was a clip of this pig floating around on social media. I'll be honest, I didn't see him over here the first day we came in. I saw that video. I came back over here, and I said, holy cow, I think you got one here, James. This pig's very, very attractive. He's striking. He's got a very futuristic look ahead of his shoulder. I love the fact that a hog with that much look and that much bone does it with some true power in terms of his chest. His cavity's really big and round. A long-rumped pig that can push his hock back. I think a pig that, regardless of where you think you're going to feed him, you just buy him, you stick him in your barn, you like what you got, and I think you'll have fun early. I think more importantly, though, I think you're going to have something in the end. And that's not to say that 125.5 is a slouch by any stretch. If you're one that's into some early power and maybe wants to jump out and make a statement early on, you could do it with that hog. Maybe even as big-footed and rugged in terms of his feature. I love this pig, just stoutness to his forehead, his jaw, the way that he blends his neck out of the top of his shoulder is extremely awesome. You get on top of that guy, and that's a 65, 70-pound pig with a big man cage. His spread is huge, big pins. I think these 125s are going to be heard from down the road. You certainly have some different avenues you can go in terms of just feeding window, but the main ingredient here, quality, quality, quality.
All right, so 15 and 16 head out. 17, 18, and 19 are going to come in a trio. This is the 122 litter that's going to jump in here. And just to talk about the pedigree, Hardcore, he'd be at Purple Power Boar Stud, and he's one of those boars we isolated we had to use, and he's a calico, and that'll probably tee you off if you're trying to picture what that boar is if you're one of them boar stud junkies and look at pictures. But bred by Tristan Gamble, and I just thought that guy looked like he had a chance to make some barrows that were awfully impressive. The unique thing about this, we just talk about pedigrees, and Brandon said he geeks up on pedigrees, but the grandma of the two pigs you just saw is in this pedigree too. She's actually the mom. So the influence of her. So you put the Hardcore sow. Now you got Frederico pony up, Undisputed right there. So that sow's influence in our herd, and honestly, it goes back to the Undisputed thing that we have in there. But building pedigrees and building things within your herd is pretty cool stuff. And I'm pretty proud of the two that just went in here. I might be just as proud of a couple of these that stand in here, maybe all three of these. And going to be fun to see what Brandon says about these.
Yeah, I mean, as James just said, we have quality leaving the ring and we drop it out, and we certainly don't ruin the trend. We'll talk the one Grace Curry drives first. If your first vantage point of that pig is from the side, you probably think, what an exotic, boxy, neat-looking pig. And if it's coming or going, that's what a true power hog looks like in terms of chest and sternum. That guy's shoulder transition into his rib is bold and round as anything you'll see. Big loin and backs laid into that guy. Huge pin set. As I said, awesome enough. You take him off to the side. A stout, attractive, yet immature skull yanked up way on the top of his shoulder. Big flag tail set up on the top of his hip. I think that's a hog you could certainly dig into. I would have no trouble feeding this pig early. I think you could certainly pump the brakes on him, and it's all going to be there for you when you want it. That's lot 17, 122.4. Lot 18 we'll talk next, kind of the sock-legged one that Kara drives there. That's another one that's intriguing to me. His rib design is extremely special in terms of just curve and roundness. That guy's maybe even more elevated, even more exotic in terms of his brother. Big feet, stout column of bone in that guy. And then when he turns and goes, just like his bro, he's big pinned, he's set on the corners, yet he's clean jointed, he's flat in his bone work, and he's square and drives with authority there off his rear skeleton. And then take nothing away from our gilt here. I think probably the more immature pig in terms of the trio, in terms of her bulk and her muscle, yet she still comes with the same width. She still comes with the same rib design. I think her fundamentals and flexibility are awesome. You know, we talked about earlier, I always love buying gilts out of litters that have barrows that I like to try to buy or that I buy to feed. It just adds even more value. So for some of you maybe that are looking down the line, another gilt that I think you could put a star next to, going to have some brothers ground up some banners, certainly not going to hurt her value long term. We drop out another trio here for the Redwood consignment. We'll go ahead and talk the Lot 20 60-1 pig first that Bryce has. Probably the outlier in the wild side litter in terms of skull and arm. You get on top of that guy, probably as broad and massive and bulky in terms of his spread as any pig in the offering. Huge pin work in that guy, big feet and legs. I'll be honest with you, when he was little, I thought, man, this pig might have too much. And what's really grown on him, for me personally, his ability to be comfortable and have a length of stride up front out of his shoulder and his knee with a strong foot. But more importantly, he's long enough about his rump. He bends and pushes off of his hock. You want to talk about feeding windows, maybe one of the bigger pigs in the consignment. I could see this pig going June, July, maybe even August if you really asked it out of him. What's cool about him, though, is his angles read good enough. You could certainly push and hold it all together. After him, we'll talk the little black pig, and we didn't maybe catch on to it, and it's something that became a little more prevalent. There's maybe a little bit of a hernia or abscess going on in his sheath. We will stand behind that entirely. The main reason why he's here, Bryce gets his head up and gets him crossing the ring. That's why. I think a very modern day in terms of his proportions, his extension ahead of his shoulder, long hipped. I always love to try to personally feed the skinny runt out of that sow's litter. They don't tend to stay skinny long, and I think as this guy bulks and masses up, he could give any of his mates a run. His balance, his build is awesome. All you got to do is feed him and let the genetics do the work. Then next we'll talk the wide-belted one with the sock feet there as he crosses the ring. That's another wild side. That hog's very good in terms of his skull. I love that guy in terms of his cage, his length of body, his levelness to his spine. A very comfortable hog. I think that you could certainly set down and hammer with the feed bucket. I still think his cage, his bulk, and his mass is good enough. If you wanted to set on him, you could certainly do that as well. We'll kick it over to James.
Yeah, and the lot 20 that Kara's on there, again, big feeding window in that hog. And if you guys want one that you can jackpot all year long and fit them in whatever show you have, if you're from Utah, you're from Nevada, and you got some of those April shows, you want to show them there, great. If you're from California and got those May shows, great. If you're from California and got those June shows, great. And it would not surprise me if he gets to July and August. And it's very rare you get a combination of a pig that has that kind of mass and spread coming at you and getting away from from you, and that kind of center cavity that is just so appropriate and yet maintains flexibility and squareness of skeleton. Normally when you get them a little more moderate like that and with that much stuff to them, they can't pick their head up, they can't work off their front shoulder, they can't work off their rear leg, but maybe more importantly, they want a bulldog coming at you and they want a bow getting away from you. That hog doesn't do it. So a big feeding window in that hog, and certainly one that you want to consider putting on your A-list or your starting team if you're putting it together. I'm not going to lie. The one Bryce is on there, that all-black pig that we talk about, lot number 21, that's my type and kind of pig. And those of you that know me, I like them when they just got a little more frame, they got a little more look, and they got just that good build, that good design, and all them fundamentals. That hog's built from the ground up. He's the same pig, front third, middle third, rear third. He's the right frame that I like to feed, and he's the one that I like to just take and add more on and add more on as we go through our feeding program. Obviously, the two pigs we just talked about, you're going to have a different approach in terms of nutrition. You're going to slow roll the first one. You're going to hammer down just a little bit more on that black pig, but he's very good. The one I'm going to tell you that it might be the most intriguing to me, and I missed him when I dug through these pigs last night, is the one that Grace is on there, the lot number 22. And some of you are probably going to be a little afraid of this pig because you're going to say, man, he's a little tall, he's a little long, and he doesn't have enough to him. And I'm going to ask you guys to study this pig's skull. And you look at the width between his brow, and you look at the jawline that he has and the stoutness of jaw that he has, and those are the indicators that power is going to come. Yes, he's got the right elevations, he's got the right length of body, and he's got the right amount of squareness. His body is going to grow into his head and his skull shape, but for one that's that stout-browed and that stout-skulled, he's still unique looking, and he's still green and late in his maturity pattern. And in my book, that checks a lot of boxes and indicate he's going to be an awfully good kind of big. Don't be afraid of him because he doesn't have as much stuff to him today. He might be the best feeding hog of this trio we have out here. In all honesty, he might be the hog that feeds the most true of the whole set of pigs that we have in the 45, but a pretty big fan of that lot number 22. Slew of these white ones. We got a bigger set here in the All right, we're going to run a slew of these white composite pigs at you guys, and sorry, no pedigrees available on there. There are some of them that actually neither of them, one of them might fall into the purebred influence, but we're just going to call them all straight crossbreds right now that look like Yorkshires. One of my favorite things to breed, and those of you who know me, and we kind of started Small Town Genetics, Kara and I, back in 2000, and we built it off purebred Yorkshire sows. And I've always been a fan of the white pigs. I've always been a fan of Yorkshire sows and having that influence in there. We got away from it maybe just a little bit 5-6 years ago, and I'm like, we got to get back to the basics of breeding good white hogs, and you're going to see about 7 of these things come across in front of you right now. The 123 litters, Joke's on You, White Lightning, and again, Joke's on You, that's going to be the boar up at Isaac's place there in the 333 stud that I thought was a white influence boar, could make us some white pigs that we needed to use. You put White Lightning on it, which I believe was at Crossroads Genetics a few years back, and some of our very best Yorkshire stuff that we have from eons ago. And actually Edward Howell's in the house over there right now, and that Yorkshire line we go back to, he bought a pig purebred Yorkshire gilt for pretty good coin about 4 or 5 years ago, I believe it was, and those are the genetics that lay in behind here. Her mom and her sisters are in this particular pig, so fun to see what Brandon's going to say about it. I'm a pretty big fan of that gilt that's out there. Not to take away anything from the barrow, but I think that's a pretty salty gilt that's out there for a white one.
Yeah, I mean, I think a very intriguing pair. I think these qualifier divisions have been getting stout out here on the West Coast. The Backman and the whole small town crew, they've been up in the mix in terms of winning those divisions. I think it's pigs like this is the reason why. We'll start in order with 123-1, that male pig. To me, that looks like the kind you cut his nuts out, you soften him up in his rib. You're going to love what you got, guys. An attractive skull, a tall shoulder blade, big, fresh, true, real muscle that you don't have to get in a feed bucket. It's all going to be there for you. He's big in his pins. He's square in terms of the way he leaves you. I think that guy's going to do really good things. You get his seeds out of him, he relaxes and just chubs up. I like that pig a good deal. Yeah, I'm a big fan of this white gilt. I think to me the first thing that jumps out is the word comfort. That's a comfortable shoulder, that's a strong foot, that's a long rump, and that's a hind leg that can drive for days. You get past all of that, that's a quality silhouette, a stout skull, and a big rear leg. I think that gilt is not only one that can jackpot, one that you could feed to be dominant in a Yorkshire division and get you a piece later in a market dog show. More importantly, if you're standing around ringside and you like to breed you a few show pigs, I think this is one that can darn sure get it done.
You know, we put these white things together not only for county fairs out here in California, as we just classify in Texas style, I guess is what everyone would agree what it is or kind of know what it is if you get outside of our part of the world. And we do it trying to make some barrows. This was a gilt-heavy litter. There was only one male in the litter, and you guys are seeing him here. So another pair of litter mate gilts coming out here. And again, if you're California buyers and you got those classifying county fairs, this is where you want to look in. And I'd argue that anyone is one more than us in those white divisions of those May fairs that happened and some of those April fairs that happened outside of California. And it's pigs like this that you're going to see in the 123 litter and the 121 litter. Again, joke's on you, White Lightning. Got that good purebred sow on the bottom side of the pedigree. That nerve damage sow is what works on the bottom side of the pedigree is grandma.
Yeah, I mean, quality keeps coming out here in the 123s. We'll talk about the -6 gilt that Kara drives. To me, you know, we talked about the silhouette, the balance, the build of the two White Hogs previous. I think this one maybe even does it in an even more exotic fashion in terms of her length of body, the type of jawline and skull and extension that she has, I think is extremely good. That gilt's powerful. Even though she has the silhouette of a show gilt, her shape, her width, her chest, and her pin width makes me confident that that's a market hog all the way that you could certainly hammer with the feed bucket like what you got down the road. Grace brings us one that's maybe just a little more immature in that litter. To me, she's almost a blend of the one Kara had and the little gilt that we had out previously. I think that she has the design and the comfort of the other one. She's still got the width. She's still got the spread and the power of the one that Kara drives. I like that gilt a really good deal. Not only are these hogs valuable just in terms of the quality they bring to the table, I doubt these things are not going to get a piece of their divisions there in the Yorkshire division. I think a really good pair of these gilts with some upside in terms of breeding value.
So 25 and 26 will head out. That's 123-6 and 123-7. And we got 4 more of these white composites coming at you. We're going to shoot our way into the 121 litter. 27 and 28 are going to come out first. I believe they are both males. Yep, they're both the boar prospects, and I think we got a pair of boars and a pair of gilts that are going to come out here. And everyone has their challenges. Ear notching, Redwood would agree with us, but 21-0 is not by design, and I can't blame anyone else besides myself. But for some reason, this one didn't get a notch in its left ear. So I guess maybe Wage, it's because I'm approaching 50 now and starting to lose it. But anyhow, 21-0 comes in here, and 21-2. Little different pedigree. Get Serious is on the top side of the pedigree, and as you guys know, good friends with Gary Todd and the Todd firm there in Oklahoma. Todd Showpigs does not need any introduction, but we not only do we have a boron stud from him, but we do a lot of semen business with him. We do show a lot of pigs from his firm too, not only my kids, but the Peacock crew as well. And that Get Serious boar is one I was excited about when I saw him and talking to Gary. He's like one you gotta use. And the look and the presence and the front end style from a barrow standpoint that he stamps in these pigs is next level. One of these things I think has a shot to be a big dog in terms of the white division. We'll see what Brandon has to say, but a pair of boars here from a pedigree standpoint. If you get on the dam 57-1, we have 3 57 litter sows working in there. That stamp on nerve damage, that nerve damage sow, she actually was Kylie Aronson's was the champion, which is the grandma grandma were talking about at CYE the first year we moved to when we moved down to Tulare, and Stamped is going to be the pig that's at Upper Ham Genetics. That was a Trace Amigos bred hog there, and all white in there. He got some purebred blood on the bottom side down there deep.
Yeah, we're not going to poke any fun at you. Me and Big Puma have screwed up our fair share of ear notches. And what our going joke is we'd rather have a good pig with a messed up ear notch than a bad one with a right one. And I think you study this pair of males, a very complementary pair of hogs. We'll talk the moderate boxy one that Kara drives first. I believe that's the -7 pig. That's the -0 pig. To me, that's the husky, moderate, opened up one. That's big-armed. I think everything just matches his skull, his arm size, his foot, his column of bone. I think a pig that has an awesome kind of a muscle texture, looks like one that'll feed, a little greener in that regard, yet his pin work's big, his hind legs set square and right where it needs to be. I think a hog that's going to feed extremely good, maybe one that could even stretch a little later down the line. I said a complementary pair because then we study the pig that Grace drives, and that's the -2 hog. And to me, that's the bigger outlined, striking, attractive one that's heads up. He's balanced in terms of his proportions, a level-made kind of a hog that's fundamentally good in terms of his length of rump, the way that he uses his hock and rear foot. I think that pig's one that you throttle down with the feed bucket, you get him to chub up and lay a little bark on his upper body, you're going to really like that pig. That's the hog that you can get into the May window if you see fit. I think that you could certainly stretch him there into early June as well. I think the main ingredient is, though they're different in kind, here's a pair of white ones that are going to show as Yorkshires, and they're going to get you to the backdrop.
27, 28 go out, and 29 and 30 come in, and these are the littermate sisters. And I think you're going to see some of the same qualities, some of the same exemplary things. And I can't speak enough about that 57 litter sow they come out of. 57-1, Stamp, nerve damage. And again, that nerve damage sow basically is all the foundation of our Yorkshire herd that's in there. And I started crossing these things up and jigging them up as most of our big shows that are important out here. Everyone wants to get to the dirt at State Fair. Everyone wants to get in a limo at CYE. And if you're showing barrows, you don't have to have a pedigree. You got to be a lookalike. And we just get a little more pig when we jig those things up a bit. And that's why we made this. But 57-1, the mom, she's an absolute hoss. And here's the gilts for Brandon to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, I think the quality of these hogs in the 121 has stayed consistent, and it's always good to feed out of deep litters. We'll talk the gilt that Kara drives across the ring. I like that gilt in terms of a comfortable shoulder, a long hip, and a good hind leg. With that, that's a heads-up, extended kind of a hog that's level in her lines. She's big and expressive out of the backside of her blade. I think a hog that's going to be an extremely good feeding one, get her chubbed up and powered up. That's going to be a good one there in the end. And then we get the one that Grace has. We get her to go across the ring, and that one's probably like the little wider-chested, rounder-bodied one that's a little bulkier today. I like that gilt's rear view in terms of big pins, consistent power in terms of her stifle, her twist. I think she goes to the surface with adequate width. She's comfortable on her rear step. I'm a big fan of these 121s. I don't know if there's a right or wrong pick. I just think if you're here to buy you a Yorkshire that can go to your show and get you a W, I'd definitely get one of these on your short list.
Should have 2 and 2 for you now. 31, 32. Did we got him tagged wrong?
No, I just didn't see the big one first. I didn't remember if I kept her with a black sister, if I split him.
This is the good one, right? You remember the or not? Double tap stamp? I know it's double tap. 37-4.
Well, we keep things rolling here with the Redwood consignment. We elected to bring a really good gilt to this sale, and we know that some of you guys here with your May shows could certainly benefit from her, maybe even more. I think a gilt that could jackpot, a gilt that could come to be very valuable this summer. I think out of a very deep litter, out of a sow that's yet to miss for us, that we bought there from True and has continued to rack up accolades. This 59-5 gilt, stone cold, tricked out hot rod. I love this gilt in terms of a comfortable skeleton, big feet and legs. But despite all the extras that she brings to the table, fundamentally a comfortable shoulder and elbow. I love her spine. I love her length of hip. And I think her hip and hind leg is absolutely indestructible. On top of that, we drop out the 60-4 gilt. That'd be out of that wild side litter. And I'll be honest, since she's got here, she's decided that she no longer needs to eat pig show feed. And I think that's okay. I know she's going to come back around. Her elevation, her skull, her arm, her hair, I think is really good. Big fat pin set, square leaving. Obviously, we need her to get back to eating and fleshing back up. But I have no worries in that regard. I think a really fun pair. We're big fans of this Lot 31.
Yeah, and if you're pig connoisseurs and you travel the country, and I've been fortunate enough, and my wife let me go enough to different parts of the world, this is what you put miles on a truck and wear out pickups for, and this is where you wear out tires. And you guys are fortunate. You guys are sitting right here. Most of you are local in your hometown, and you just found something that you might go through 4 or 5 pickups before you come into something like this. I have no idea what this Lot 31 gilt is going to cost. But she's certainly one that if you can afford her and she fits your checkbook, you don't even think twice about it. You just buy her. When you draw them up on paper, not only from a pedigree standpoint, but from a visual standpoint, in my opinion, Brandon, this is what we do. And again, the Redwood firm, they're not afraid to lay in sows that they need to lay in. They're not afraid of the price that some of those things cost, and they're fortunate what Jake and Brandon do. They're able to lay some of those sows in that a lot of people would want to have. And there's sow power on the bottom side of this. There's sire power on the top side. But her look and just the way she's put together is absolutely next level. It's going to be fun. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to bid on this pig. I doubt I get her, because I raise pigs for a living and sell feed for a living, and it gets out of my budget. But if you guys are looking from afar and you want to lay in a sow that not only to be an elite show gilt, but I think an absolute hammer foundation sow type deal, she's sitting right here. You put her in big sales, Brandon, the right time of year. That's a $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 gilt in my opinion, and I hope she gets that there. And if anyone's willing to go those, or a couple guys willing to go that, you will not be disappointed with her. It's unfortunate that the 60-4 or the lot number 32 comes in the pin with her, because it doesn't matter what pig you put in the pin with that gilt, they're probably not going to look as good as they are, and that's okay, because someone's going to lay into this thing and someone's going to have a very enjoyable show experience when they inventory that lot 32 gilt. But study her look, study her side view, and we all know as a judge, and I mean, I'm fortunate I get to judge a few shows, but you guys that are show dads, show moms, or show people, the first impression when you come out of the gate and the first 3 steps that pig takes, picture that pig when she comes in the ring. Her head's up. She's sound, she's comfortable, she's got a cocky attitude, she looks like she wants to be on the catwalk and show herself off, and that look and style that she has is absolutely appropriate. You heard the man tell you she doesn't want to eat real well. Whatever. I don't even think she needs a little more chub. I think when you study her skeleton and study her presence and the way everything is just laid on that skeleton, I don't care if she's chubby or not right now. We'll fix that in time if we go. But that is a very, very good gilt as well. You're going to put all your attention on the other one, because the pigs like the other one, they just don't come around every day. And honestly, you can breed for 10 pigs for 10 years and not have something like that. I don't know if we've ever bred that one good at Small Town, and we've been in business for 25 years. But that's a pretty salty pig over there that has a chance to win a lot of shows. Awfully good pair right there. Any of you guys out there in the World Wide Web that are serious about putting in foundation sows in the hog world part of the Midwest or the Southwest or the major parts of the world, don't get a little scared on 59-5. She's an absolute hoss.
Well, we drop out our final pair and our consignment for Redwood Genetics. We have another 59 pig. The all-black gilt, 59.9. Then we have another wild side gilt, 67. Honestly, 59.9 is one that obviously her sister hurts to let go. I talked with Jake, and we've talked extensively about it. That sow always throws a good fundamental skeleton, maturity, and they're hogs that get stouter, bolder, and wider as they continue to grow. I don't know if she's ever thrown one that's as moderate in terms of length, runs uphill like that with that kind of feature. I really like this gilt. I think she's about as dual purpose as it gets in terms of power. You could certainly show her as a market hog. I love this gilt in terms of the pieces she brings to the table long term, maybe down the line as a sow. And nothing to take away from our 60-7 gilt. I think as attractive, good-shaped, and comfortable skeleton as any. She's probably the least mature, least ready to go today. Yet I still think a square, comfy skeleton with shape and extension. A really fun pair. I like the black gilt a really good deal.
Yeah, and that black pig lot number 33, Brandon's talking about, obviously her sister's elite, but set her sister aside and just study her. And just another one of those pigs that is hard to create. And the smart money's going to be on her. I think her sister's going to bring a little more coin. And if you're looking to inventory genetics from a sow power standpoint or putting a sow in, that one certainly has every box check that you want to do. And but even when you talk about a show ring, I mean, that thing – yes, in the black division, she's going to be very, very difficult to handle, and especially those shows that show black and have a gilt show. Man, I mean, Wade's just judged one here not too long ago, and I think he'd have loved to have a gilt like that in that black show to go ahead and just align and say, here's my one, I'm going to build the black division around. But sow power, show gilt quality, but even set outside that black division, that one can run with the dark crosses, that one can run with the belts if you don't have a black division to go with, and a very, very high powered hog, and very impressed with that one. And again, smart money is going to be on that one, especially with her sister being just an absolute hammer and Hall of Fame type deal. Kara's on the 60-7. We've seen a lot of those 60 litter pigs, and what's unique about those, Brandon, is that front third assembly is the same on all those pigs. That head carriage and the way that neck's built on the top of the blade, and that show style and show barrel presence as those pig has, it's very prevalent in that 60 litter here. And you're getting into the gilts, and we've looked at a lot of barrows out of that 60 litter. The barrows are going to be fleshier. They're going to have a little more chub. They're going to be a little funner to look at right here. Gilts are going to be greener. Gilts are going to be just a little harder in terms of the way they present muscle and bloom on their skeleton. And if you don't want to get super fancy with a feed bucket and you want pigs that are easy to feed, in all honesty, we were talking about this last night, people say they don't want to feed gilts, but gilts are much easier to feed because the true muscle shape and bloom and freshness of back it takes to win a class at a county fair out here in our part of the world, the gilts naturally have it. You don't have to feed it in. So don't be afraid of that 60-7. I think she's a good feeding kind of pig, and especially if you're a Mayday buyer right there, just put her on feed, let her go. Every day she's going to chub up and get better, and you're going to be pretty happy with what you have in about 5 months. Hey, Kelsey, he doesn't look that, seems pretty calm. I don't see it. Just a calm kid. I don't see any crying in him at all. All right, we're going to jump right in here with 35. Is that where we're at? 35, 36, and 37. Is that correct? Yep. 35, 36, and 37 are going to jump in the ring here. And, again, these are going to be out of the found bore, buckle up, in-game sister. We got Bryce going to step in and get the whipping and spurring going good here. But, again, another one of those pedigrees. Obviously, we got that Gary Todd Haas Schulte bore on the top side of the pedigree there. You put shades, and when you get down to the grandma, the 103-8, and Brandon probably knows a little bit about this too, but that's a Kanoth sow that we've had in our herd. And I believe Lance showed her way back when, but she's old. But all that good stuff that when Kanoth Firm or the Kanoth Firm just absolutely dominated, it kind of goes back back to what's in this 103-8 sow. So excited about the grandma. A little bit of a mixed bag of nuts and bolts when you get into these. There's different types and kinds. Consistency from a uniformity standpoint, probably not there, but a lot of different directions of what you can do and different type of feeding windows within these pigs, Brandon.
Yeah, I think a very fun trio of gilts. I don't know if James wants to not sell this 35. That's why she's not pictured. I know I definitely liked her a good deal on the barn. We drop her out here on the green carpet under the big lights for you guys this evening, and I probably like her even more. That one's moderation in terms of length and frame is extremely exciting. I say that. I don't think she's going to be a little no-growing hog. That hog still reads with the right kind of shape to her face, the right kind of length to her cannon. That is a boxy-built, round-bodied one that's extra good in terms of pin set. She's comfortable in her hock. I love that thing as she crosses the ring. Very modern in terms of her proportions, very powerful, yet she still blends it smooth with a high-quality look. Then we'll talk the little male pig that Grace Curry drives. Like some of ours, do we have these things under all these tanning lights and stuff? Maybe not. Picture that pig, jet black, and you like what you got. A stout, attractive skull, a big chest, a big arm, a round kind of a rib cage with a hind leg that's got some extra set that allows him to push and be bendy and be an athlete. And then maybe one of my favorites that's came through, the little sock-legged gilt that Bryce has. I can assure you, you get this one some UV rays, you dump a little bit of that powdered fat in the feed bucket, you're going to like your show pig. A tall-shouldered, elevated one with a striking head and neck, big chest, round-bodied, with a tremendous hip and hind leg. Another really good trio of hogs. We're later into this lineup. I think the quality continues to come. We're excited to offer these things to you guys.
He won't admit it, but he does. All right, so out with 35, 36, and 37, the 127 litter pigs. And we're going to transition right into We're going to transition to some purebred hogs here, Brandon, and lot number 38, lot number 39 are going to come in, Poland hogs, and the sire is going to be Numbers Game, which is a 983 son. Again, if we go back to the 333 stud and talking to Isaac, that 983 boar had done very well. He bought a pair of boars in. I believe they were siblings, but they weren't named when I did it. So in my thing, it just says 983 son. But since then, he's been named Numbers Game, which comes from the Wintex firm, and one of those pigs that Will and company down there put together. The dam, just doing it, Johnny Cash. She comes from Foot Farms, and she's one we bought. When I was talking to Jason, I said I want a Poland sow that I can show, but maybe more importantly, make a sow and try and get back on that. We bred the champion Poland, the reserve champion Poland, at Arizona Nationals 5 years ago and 6 years ago. That sow didn't make it through the farrowing crate her next time through, so we kind of lost those pigs, and I wanted to rebuild on it. You guys will probably most recently know the Poland that my boy showed, Cade. It's actually up here on the thing, but that one's done very well in the jackpot circuit, and obviously the Poland's got to show against the spots out here, and that thing's held its own. It's made it to the backdrop every jackpot we went to, and a couple weekends ago or last weekend, whenever it was, it all runs together at Western Regional. That thing ran into a monster Poland guild and ended up with reserve honors there, but there was one that was freakishly good. But sow power in here is good. Obviously a proven sow that's got some half sibs that are out there and done really well, but again, that's kind of the pedigree on it. I think this is a pretty neat set of Polands. There's going to be two boar pigs or two barrow prospects coming out here, Brandon, and a pair of gilts that I think you're going to like as well.
Yeah, I was excited to get these pure hogs out here. They looked awesome in the barns, and James has done a good job collecting those females that time and time again can get the job done. I think these Polands are no exceptions. I think looking at these breed hogs, for some of you guys tuning in here live, don't look at what's different. Look at the similarities. We talk about them even compared to crossbreds. Their skull, their chest, the design and dimension to their rib cage, big pin work, a square rear view. I think these are hogs that you could really dig into. We'll start with probably the bulkier of the two in the -2 hog that Grace drives. that guy reads like a man from the word get in terms of his skull, his arm. That guy turns and leaves. I'll be honest, his hip is massive. Well, what's cool about him, a clean-jointed barrow that's square-hawked, he's within his body wall, and one that's flexible in his shoulder and his knee. I think a really neat kind of a Poland barrow. Then we have the one that Kara drives, and that's the Dash-3 hog. That's probably your taller-shouldered one that's a little neater and more extended ahead of his blade. I like the push and reach that he also offers there in terms of the rear third of his body. Is he as mature and far along in terms of chub and rib cage today? No, but I can assure you, as you see the remainder of this litter, that's not going to be an issue. That's a quality look, a functional build, and one that's going to have the right kind of muscle to feed.
So that would be lot number 38, lot number 39 heading out, and that is the boy Polanders. And as we get into this, we're going to go right into lot number 40 and 41. And here's a pair of gilts that are coming out. And this lot number 40, Brandon, I'll just make a couple comments on her. We talked about pedigrees and everything, but I think she's pretty special. I'm excited to see her out here. And there was one pig that was a little off and thumping. I believe it's the gilt that's coming next, not the lot number 40, but the lot number 41. But this lot number 45, I think she could stand a lot of competition, and certainly appreciate that. Well, they're getting them out here. Another person I'd like to introduce, Mr. Pete Gomez, is out there, and yeah, he's a cell advisor. So with showpig.com, Pete's jumped on board. If anyone wants to call in and get his take on what the pigs are looking like, and there's a lot of good hogmen in here, like Pete Wage's in here, Mr. Dadson's here, Mr. Curry. I mean, there's lots of people that you could call, but Pete is a sales advisor for this thing. He's here. We appreciate him coming, and his wife, and soon to be expecting wife, I guess is what we should say. But appreciate Pete being here, and if you guys got any questions, his number's out there. You guys can give him a call as well. I'll let Brandon jump in on these Polander gilts.
Yeah, I think regardless of breed, you drop a pair like this out, and it's just fun to study them. We'll talk that 40 that Grace is driving first. To me, the things that jump out is not only does she bring all the ESTs to the table in terms of skull, feature, power, I think this hog's presence, her ability to just project her head and neck that high out of the top of her shoulder is awfully unique in any breed, but darn sure in a Poland. Clean crest, flat back. That gilt's pin work is stout, yet she's square, she's bendy, she's flexible. Regardless if you're a barrow buyer, a gilt buyer, a pure buyer, a cross buyer, if you like to own very, very good show pigs, I'd have her on the short list. And that's nothing to take away from the hog that Kara drives, the Dash-6 hog. To me, that's one that's as pliable in her rib and comfortable in her skeleton as any pig we dropped out here. You throw her into the Poland ring and think about her potential, a stout skull, a comfortable spine, and a flexible build with muscle. I like that gilt's chances to feed. I think a really good pair of them with an extremely special one there in lot number 40.
Okay, we'll get out of the Polands here, and we're going to stick with the purebreds. A pair of Berkshires coming in here, lot number 42 and lot number 43. These are the 134 litter pigs, and we got a barrow and a gilt. They're out of the Cyclone Boar, and I probably should know more about his pedigree, but I apologize, I don't. But he's from Golden State Genetics, and I called up Scott one day. My good Berk sow was in heat, and we needed something to do, and she wasn't supposed to be in heat, but she was, so we ran over there, and in fitting fashion, Golden State Genetics, Scott said, yeah, we got semen for him when I get there. Rochelle's collecting, and I think he was taking a nap or sipping on a Mai Tai or something like that, but his wife got it done and got us a semen. We appreciate that. The 5-2 sow, over-the-top family jewels, and she's one that I picked up from the Albright firm, and JC was considering showing this thing a couple years ago. ago. Little off size, a younger pig that really didn't fit the California show circuit. She was too small and too immature to go to CYE. But anyhow, with that being said, I mean, she certainly has a quality from not only a visual standpoint, not only a pedigree standpoint, but she was a very salty pig. And I think I give about $3,200 for her, Brandon. She wasn't a cheap little baby pig, but I'm pretty pleased with this pair of them. And I thought this was the best barrow, and I thought this was the best gilt in the litter. We are not holding anything back. We put the two very best in here. Just didn't know how many Berks we should put in a cell, but here they are, and a fun pair to discuss, and I think could go real deep in the California show circuit out here.
Yeah, I'd say your $3,200 purchase is looking pretty good right about now. We'll talk that little male pig first. I think you talk Berkshire barrows, and you talk about the kind that got to have the right kind of stoutness to keep it with them as they mature. You think about hogs in terms of just maturity curve. I love this guy in terms of a rugged-made, stout-skulled barrow that's big in his blade and arm, round about his rib. Yet as he turns and goes, he leaves you with the right kind of maturity in terms of his muscle shape. Yet he's still set on the corners. He's clean-jointed, one that's flexible in terms of his build. I think a barrow that I like a great, great deal. Not that I don't like him a ton, but I think this gilt kind of steps things up from a quality perspective. That thing's skull, her elevation, and her bulk is very, very good. For a Berkshire, her collectiveness to her top line, squareness behind her blade, and ability to blend that smooth in her hip loin, I think's real good. Square, flexible kind of a hind leg, neat chromed up color pattern there on that one side. I think a great pair of Berkshires. If you want to take a gilt the long haul on the gilt ring, I think you have a great opportunity. You want a feedable, greener design kind of a barrow that's built for the long haul with stoutness, you could do that as well. I think our peers are extra, extra good in this particular set. These two are no exception.
And we got two more to go. 42 and 43 are going to exit. That is the Berkshire, pedigreed Berkshire hogs there. And, yeah, slow down that male pig just a little bit on the feed bucket. Keep pushing on that gilt, and good things are going to happen. We're going to close the sell up with a pair of belted hogs here, crossbreds, maybe classify ham, dark cross, depending on what your fair classifiers do. But the 135 litter pigs are going to come out next here, and we got a pair of gilts again on the found boar, the Todd boar, buckle up, in-game sister, and a little different on the bottom side. Puts that Shades boar in there, which again was that boar. I guess it's 2 summers ago now that I went up to Brenning's there, and when we were shown at Expo, a lot of peacocks were with us that day. Chad didn't like the boar. I did. I gave $40,000 for him, and maybe I lost my mind. But at some point, you gotta step up to the plate there. But yeah, we gave $40,000 for him. Bred him to the one-man band sow. One-man band's the boar that. I believe he was at Upper Hand Genetics, but maybe I'm wrong. But long story short, he's a Wintex hog, and I've always been a fan of Will Winters. I've always appreciated when he judges a show what he does and his priorities on livestock, and obviously those guys have won. I think this pair of pigs, Brandon, you'll probably agree with me, they need to be settled down from a feed bucket standpoint. They're probably pushed just a little bit hard, and we have everything on 648 here right now, the Linder program. These things need to get down to 685, maybe 680, even faster, and whatever feed company that you guys go to, I would go lower protein. Less is going to be more on these, but their power, their bulk, their muscularity is very, very good. They just a little head of muscularity in terms of skeletal development, but I do believe this pair of pigs managed appropriately or switched on their feed bucket here in the next few days. I do believe there is county fair winners in here with the added density and bone and look they have. It's going to be fun to see what Brandon thinks about this pair.
Yeah, I mean, as James alluded towards, if you're tuning in to buy a Mayfair pig, look away. But if you want an inventory, boxy, exotic-looking kind of pair of gilts that I think have tremendous feature, wild-looking outline, tune in, and these are the kind that you throw in on inventory. This 44 that Grace drives, probably as dense, opened up, and as exotic in her shape, her pin width, and feature as any pig we've dropped out. Does this pig need to get slowed down and pump the brakes? You better believe it. I think when you do that, though, you got one that's going to not only be there for you on the weekends as you're rounding up some banners. This is one that goes late into the summer, and anymore in today's day and age, you could show her in the fall as well. I like this gilt's pin set. Her skull is gnarly stout. Her chest is big. She's got the boots with the fur. I think that's one that you could certainly tie into. The other gilt will drive out, maybe even more exotic in terms of the shape to her head. I love her extra comfort out of her shoulder, out of her knee. I like that gilt's bend and hinge there to her hip and her hock. She's another one shape-wise. We got to tone things down just a little bit. The cool thing is she keeps it all together. She's square. She's good in her fundamentals. I like this pair of gilts. I think we started the sale with an awesome pair. We're darn sure going to end in the same fashion. And this is probably my last time talking tonight. Once again, from me and Jake and everyone in our crew, Garrett, Bryce, Tylee, Isaac plays a big part at our place. The whole Harcrater family. We want to thank Backman and the small town crew. I think this event and these events moving forward are going to be nothing short of incredible, and we darn sure appreciate us being here.
Well, we appreciate you guys, too, not only the firm that's with us here, but everyone that helped put it together. And it's a big crew, and I missed Jason earlier. He's been on the grill over there, and Blair's coming out in the middle. You guys didn't let Blair show a pig, and we don't understand why Kelsey thinks that her kids cry because we haven't seen any of it, but it happens. So, but wholeheartedly, thank you guys. And I mean, now it's a little bit different. Redwood's joined us, but I've always said thank you guys for being part of the small town family. It certainly is a family when you get into this livestock deal and you play at a high end like Jake, Brandon, Karen, myself want to do. Like it's a small community. It's close knit, and we're all competitors, but we all get along. And I think that they would agree. Thank you guys for being part of the Redwood family as well. So you guys that are here, you are welcome to stay as long as you want. There's plenty of food. There's plenty of drinks. If the propane runs out of the heaters, we will go ahead and put it right back in. And you guys can stay here as long as you want. The barns are open. Get the pigs in. Shoosh them. We got plenty of young kids that can get these things in and out if you want to make another run at it. But don't forget, tomorrow, showpig.com is where we're going to be at. I said Showpig.live, but this is an online sale. Showpig.com. Stacy will handle all the technical stuff for the backside of it. You guys just fire in. We'll do this again at 5 o'clock tomorrow night. We'll serve you guys dinner right about 6 o'clock when that sale goes into closing. But everyone's welcome to come back. It won't be live broadcasted, but please share it across the world. Thank you guys wholeheartedly for being part of there. Thank you, Jake. Thank you, Brandon, for being a part of this event. I look forward to talking to you. So you guys enjoy the night. I know we had a few drinks. Make sure that we drive home responsibly, but we want you guys to enjoy yourself. Mike Curry, walk home responsibly. You're probably going to get a little bit wobbly. So everyone that was helping get pigs in and out, my wife in the back, Ram around and all that, we appreciate you guys. Love you guys. Be safe, and hopefully you guys get everything you want in your